Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Movies Monthly webinars on the rapidly changing world of streaming and how to take your OTT business ahead. In this edition, we take a look at the world of SDK and how SDK can be utilized to create your own native apps for all operating environments. Now, before we start, I would like to request the audience to keep posting your questions in the Q&A chat only. We will address them at the end of the session. My name is Aditya, and I'm the Corporate Communication Manager at Muvi, and I'll be your host today. With this, I would like to take the opportunity to give you a quick overview of Muvi. Now, founded in 2011, Muvi is headquartered in New York and was founded with a vision to disrupt the global video and audio streaming market. Today, we stand as one of the leading players in the streaming platform service space, while our twist with time has led us to the development of multiple products with several more in the pipeline. Our key product, Muvi One, offers an end-to-end solution to launch your own customizable, agile, and scalable OTT streaming and live platforms with zero coding. Now, having spoken about our domain expertise, let's get on with today's webinar. Now, we can easily say that video and audio, or AV media, has become an integral part of most of our apps nowadays. From apps that are built exclusively around video and audio streaming, like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, now to apps that build user engagement and other social interactions like Clubhouse and TikTok. Businesses are looking at video and audio-based models increasingly. Let's look at some numbers. In 2021, the global consumer mobile app spending amounted to 170 billion US dollars, which is up from 143 billion US dollars in 2020. Now, one can say that the consumer app store spending has strongly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to people spending more time at home and having to switch to digital channels for more everyday activities. Now, while China leads the market for mobile apps with users in the country generating approximately 56.8 billion US dollars in app spending, for in-app spending, and the US market ranked second with the US spending more than 43 billion US dollars on apps last year. Now, this showcases the potential of mobile app market. So much so that even the streaming industry realizes its true reach, with over 73% of population having access to mobile phones today. Now, no wonder businesses are lapping up to the idea of creating that are engaging and helping them to tap into the next revenue goldmine. But building a streaming platform from scratch has a lot of requirements, such as understanding the platform, segregating different modules, third-party integration for setting up CDN, securing content distribution, incorporating online players, hosting an effective payment gateway to receive payments, and most importantly, running an updated infrastructure. Now, to deploy all this on a streaming service, you would have to rely on a bunch of resources as well. This means app developers are faced with challenges in bringing this experience to apps that they develop. However, integrating video and audio streaming into apps is not as easy as writing a few lines of code. It's a more complicated process that involves a conjunction of IT infrastructure, content security, content delivery, and then app in itself. It's not an easy task. In today's webinar, we learn how Muvi can help app developers as well as businesses looking to integrate video and audio streaming experience into their platforms by providing an easy to integrate SDK kit for websites as well as mobile apps like iOS and Android. But this allows developers to bring this innovative experience into their apps without worrying with the rest of the technical hassles. Joining us today is Siddharth Shubhankar Naik, Product Manager Muvi, to take us through all you need to know about SDKs and learn how you can leverage Muvi's SDKs to create and launch your own scalable OTT platform across all environments. Siddharth is a part of Muvi's product management division as a front-end product manager and is responsible for enhancing the UI and UX of the product, which involves the website, mobile, and TV applications. His expertise lies in OTT and low-code website development tools, AR, VR, and IoT domains. He is inclined towards product ideation, market research, analytics, and implementation. With time, he has built products from scratch that have helped enterprises to scale up their businesses. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Siddharth and thank him for taking out time to conduct this webinar. Thank you so much, Siddharth, and welcome to today's session.
Thanks, Aditya, for this warm welcome, and welcome everyone to this session on SDKs. To be very specific, we'll be talking on how you can integrate some native SDKs into your native application of Android and iOS. Now, in this today's session, we'll be very crisp. Along with that, we'll be talking on some of the topics that it's considered as myths and some of the confusion that is revolving around SDKs. So we will be narrowing down our concept on SDKs. So we'll be covering what actually SDKs mean. Then we'll be talking on what actually is inside an SDK. So SDK has multiple parts. So we'll be talking on some specific thing that is inside an SDK. Then there is a big confusion every time that what is the difference between an SDK and API, because both of them works a bit similar. We'll be talking the difference between them. Along with that, what business use cases are actually required, where to use SDKs and where to use APIs. Then obviously from a business point of view, we have to see why to use an SDK. So we'll be looking out for the business benefit that we can get out of SDKs. And at the end, I'll be showing you some of Muvi's SDKs that you can actually leverage and you can create your own OTT applications. Now, talking about SDK, before I give you an overview about SDKs, we have a simple definition of SDK that is known as software development kit or dev kit, which you will obviously get in when you Google about what is an SDK. But to sum what up an SDK is, it's a downloadable package. It's a software package that you can download. It's available in various framework. When I say framework, it's basically tech stack. It is available in Java, it is available in Swift, it is available in React Native. It depends on which tech stack you want to download that SDKs. And these SDKs contain lots of features inside them. So if you as a developer want to build an high-tech feature and you don't want to build it from scratch, so obviously we'll look out for something that is already ready-made available, take it, use it, and obviously you have that feature in your application. So that is where SDK comes for help. So you want to build some high-tech, you want to build a feature, but you don't want to build it from scratch. You take an open source or an paid SDK available in the globe and use it in your application. Just an example, if you want to create an augmented reality project, when I say project, it can be something that is using augmented reality as a technology and you don't want to build it. So what you can do, you can take some SDKs like Eco AR, or you can say Matterport. You can use their open source SDKs and use it in your application so that you can get the augmented reality functionality which you need in your application. But end goal is going to be the business use case of your application, whatever you're doing. Now coming down to everyone asked, I have received this question a lot, that what actually is inside an SDK. So I'll try to I'll try to bring an analogy of SDK with the first aid kit. So you know about what an first aid kit is first aid kit. So in first aid kit, there are a lot of equipments. There are bandages, there are aspirin, there are gauze, there is medicine, but you don't use all of them, right? You use those things that is actually required. As in, if you have a wound, then you will maybe using a bandage. But if you have fever, then you will be using a medicine. A software development kit is similar to that. It comes with lot of functionality inside it, but you will be using the ones that you require for your business need, for your use cases, for your requirements. And to specify, there are mostly 5 major components inside an SDK that are APIs. So an API, I guess we all know about what an API is. It's known as application program interface. What it does, you can consider it as an communication language between two softwares, how they talk to each other. Or you can say a delivery truck, where you send a request to the delivery truck that get this thing from somewhere else and they bring back the response. That's an API is. Then there are certain code libraries specific to that tech stack. There is a documentation, and documentation is the major thing that is the major part of an SDK. These document actually helps you how to use a code library to use certain APIs, how to install, what are the prerequisites you need. All these things are covered inside a documentation. Then you have tutorials. What are these tutorials going to be? As I said, there are certain prerequisites you need to do before an SDK, and all these things are listed inside an SDK. Then debugging. As we all know, debugging is something that you need to understand whether something is working or not. You need to have some console showing you response if there is an error or not, and all these things comes with an SDK. So you can see, whenever you build an application from scratch, also you follow all these approaches. You have a backend from where you need to create an API. You need to have a front end that will call an API to get the response. Then you will have to test it. So whatever you were doing while you build an application from scratch, everything you're already getting in an SDK. So why to actually invest time on building something from scratch if something is already available in market and we can take the leverage of it to build my business use case or my business requirement. Now, a common myth that we get is SDKs are similar to APIs. It's totally wrong. SDKs are not at all similar to API. And these are some basic 3 pointers which I have mentioned on. There are others also, but these are something that we from a business use case should need to understand, that what API's purpose is and what SDK's purpose is, what are their characteristics and use cases. This is a very important point, that is use case. We need to be very clear about when to use an API, when to use an SDK, because as I said in my previous slides also, that both of them kind of has the same work, but the use cases are totally different. So API's purpose, as I said, it's connects or integrates software, the way two softwares talk to each other. But SDK at the similar point is not just communication between two applications. It comes with a lot of other different components. It's a pure development tool. It comes with an UI layer. It comes with APIs. As we showed you in the what's inside an SDK, it comes with a lot of other factors also. Now coming down to the characteristics, in APIs are mostly very lightweight. It's like one APIs has around maybe 5 to 6 lines of code. Some APIs may have 10 to 15 lines of code, and they're very fast. And usually they're very specified or specialized to a certain niche use case. So if I write a get API first, this thing, then that is very specific to, suppose I write an API that get me the details of the name, right? So it will just get me the details of a name, right? But at the same point, SDKs are very robust and they actually include many utilities, like lot of APIs inside them. Use cases, as I said, this is the most important point. In use cases, always use API when you want only one specific function in your application. If you just want to get the details of a name, use API in your application. But at the same time, in SDK, it is actually used to create a totally new application that has multiple functionality. To give an example, if you want to get the detail of a student, the entire detail, name, roll number, admit ID, maybe what is the percentage grade, you need to use an SDK. So I hope we are quite clear right now that what is the difference between an API and SDK in terms of use case basis. And this is something we should always consider before choosing an API, or should we go with an SDK. Now, obviously, being from business background, we have to look for what are business benefits we are going to get from an SDK. The major point of an SDK is it's quicker integration, because as I said, it's a ready-made available thing. You already have it, and you have a documentation. You know how to implement it. So it actually increases your sales cycle. It actually shortens your sales cycle. You can actually get into your market at a very short time. So you already have the thing, you integrate to your application and get into the market. You don't have to wait. You don't have to write down the entire procedure of what testing has to be done. All these things that you should have done while you were building a monolithic approach of development, you can cut short that time. Then a great product plus SDK increased reach. And I'll be proudly to say about us that we have a lot of customers using SDKs. And just because we have a stable product, we have a SDK, that actually helps our customer to use our SDK, and it actually helps us to increase our reach. So because we provide multiple amount of tools in our SDK that you can actually use to make your product. Then efficient development and faster development. So why it is efficient? As already said, that everything comes inside an SDK. So you don't have to think more, and it's a proper procedure written by some other developer who have spent much time on that to build those SDK. So it actually increases your time of development, because you don't have to go through this traditional process of development. Now, brand control and mitigated risk. This is beneficial for two parties: the one who is building an SDK, the one who is using an SDK. This entire control on the UI layer of the application. The similar with the one who is using the SDK, they have the control on the UI layer of their application. So this is not going to this is a win-win situation for both of them, that you have the full brand control over your own application or your own SDKs. Now coming down to Muvi SDKs, at Muvi, we provide native SDKs for both player and API for Android and iOS application. Before you can actually get the access to our documentation. It's available on our website. You can simply go to the developer portal. You'll see the documentation. Everyone who is from a dev community can go through it the way we are writing it, and we are obviously open for feedbacks if you have, because we personally want that if it can grow into a community, then we'd be more than happy happy. So you can visit our documentation there. And obviously, as a business, if you want to use our SDK package, it's a very simple step. You need to take a free trial with Muvi, subscribe to Android or iOS application, open your CMS, and in your CMS you will find a section known as SDK under mobile and TV apps. All you need to do is you have an app package name. This is something that you have in your application for both mobile and iOS. You need to copy that package name, generate your SDK, and obviously download the SDK and use the SDK as per your requirement, whatever business requirement you have. And soon we are going to go live with a new SDK of us that is known as app SDK. After this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow our end users to get an access to the UI layer of the application. Right now, these SDKs are the player and the API SDKs are some core feature SDKs, right? But once we launch this app SDK, you have an access to the UI layer and you can build your application on top of it. Now, before we, I'll show you the demo. Like, I guess this is a process I've written down. I'll show you demo how you can do this thing along with the documentation on the website. Just let me know. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the player SDK documentation. We have this left panel for how you need to do the functions. The code snippets added here. You can simply copy those snippets and you can use it. Now, if this is a documentation, but if you want to use the SDK you need to go down to your once you it's a subscribe store, so I can access the store. But once you subscribe to it, you need to subscribe to mobile and TV apps. Once you do that, the mobile application you subscribe to, suppose Android, you will see Android SDK. When you click on Android SDK, you will see an app package name. I have already added it, so I can't change it. And then you will need to click generate. Once you click the generate, your the SDK with your package name will be generated from the backend. And all you need to do simply is download the setup file. As you can see, you have downloaded the setup file. You can open the SDK file, and yeah, you will be able to get access to the entire SDK. And as a developer, you can go through this and you can go through this documentation. It has all those major functionality which you can use to at least make an OTT application in maybe less than a month, and that will help you. And you can obviously tweak this thing as per your requirement, because as I said, you have the entire control on your brand presence. So that's it from my side. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience, and now I'll just hand it over to Aditya.
Thank you so much, Siddharth, for the detailed presentation and the demo. Now, before we move on to the Q&A session, I would request the audience to take a minute to answer a quick poll now coming onto your screens. If you can't see the poll, you please click on the poll icon at the bottom of your screens. So Siddharth, while you were mentioning, while the audience is answering the questions, I had a question. You were mentioning about the clients that use, Muvi SDKs. Can you recall of any particular client that who's using Muvi SDK and it's particularly happy about how they are enjoying it?
Yes, Aditya. Recently, we have been talking to Door International. So they are one of our client, and along with Pixemo. And they have been using SDKs. They're exploring SDKs right now, and they're quite happy with the way we present the SDKs, as in the documentation of the SDKs, thanks to the engineering team. So they're actually happy with the SDKs what we build, and they're using it right now.
Absolutely. So besides developers, what is the biggest challenge that a non-technical person would face when given a chance of launching their OTT platform? Say, if I want to use Muvi as a platform rather than going to the SDK route, we can always do that, right?
Yes, obviously, Aditya. So our major agenda is a no-code platform. So Muvi is a no-code platform. The major reason of using an SDK is if you want to use some specific features of Muvi into your application. Supposedly, as you were mentioning in our in beginning, that you want to create a TikTok-like application, you can use our player SDKs. But if you want to create a full-fledged OTT application, obviously it's open. You just need to subscribe. If you have multiple templates available, choose any template, build your OTT application, and go live. Right. That is always available. Steps. Yeah, just 5 simple steps.
Absolutely. Cool. So I hope you have answered our poll. I would like to open the forum for discussion. Please send in your queries in the Q&A chat. We appreciate you for taking out time today to attend this session. As a small token of appreciation, we'd like to give out a small informative brochure for you to view later. The link of the handout will now appear on your screens. Great. So hope you have been able to view the link. In case you missed it, you can click on the chat icon at the bottom of the screen. Now let's get on with the most awaited part of the show, the question and answer round. So that if you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
So the first question comes from a user from our audience in Facebook. The question is, what makes SDK good for use?
Yeah. So Aditya, SDKs, as said earlier, that SDKs, the documentation should be very proper. The five major components which are described in my what's inside SDK, that has to be very prominent, as in the libraries, the APIs, the way you document it, that actually helps. Because SDK is something the developer has to integrate into the application. So before he takes the steps, because it's, as I said, it's not a no code thing, right? You have to code for it. So
Right.
if you the presentation or the documentation plays a great role. If you document it very well, then it will actually help the developers a lot.
Right. If you can move to the next slide so that people know that it's a Q&A session.
Yeah, sure.
So the next question is, what competitive advantage Muvi SDK can offer for a growing enterprise?
Can you repeat, Aditya?
Yeah. What competitive advantages Muvi's SDK can offer for a growing enterprise?
Yeah. So for a growing enterprise, Aditya, Muvi's SDK, as I said, our core SDKs are very powerful, as in the player SDK, you can say. So you can, if you are a growing enterprise and you have some requirement that is just specific to player, you don't want an OTT. You imagine you want to create an social media application like TikTok, but it's a growing enterprise, right? You can take our player SDK. You don't have to build that player SDK, which will actually maybe it will take you time of maybe around 2 months or 2 to 6 months. That same thing you could have been doing in less than 1 month with some SDK that is pre-made available. And here where the difference is being created of the 4 months. And obviously, I don't need to tell you that 4 months values a lot for an enterprise customer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah, time is money.
In fact, if I can add to it, it specifically helps enterprises who want to go digital first, who want to add the video and audio streaming experience to their website and apps. That's when these SDKs are really helpful.
Right, Aditya.
So so moving on, the next question is, can we use native SDKs in a hybrid framework?
Okay, so here, Aditya, there's a catch. So yeah, a simple answer will be yes, but it will require a developer, because there is a concept known as bridge. So bridge is a concept of React Native. So React Native is a hybrid framework, and native is Java, Swift. So if you integrate bridge, so once bridge is there, so bridge is a concept where a React Native framework in the React Native code can actually talk to the native code. So there is a concept known as bridge. A developer will understand this thing. So if you implement bridge, then obviously you can do it, but a native SDKs directly can't be applied to an hybrid framework application.
Right. Cool. So the next question is, you were mentioning about how SDKs can help accelerate your go-to-type market, right?
Right.
So the person is asking, if I use Muvi's SDKs to help accelerate my time to deliver on my market launch of my OTT platform, how much time can I save?
See, if you have a good bunch of developers and who understand the way everything has been documented, I can assure you in like 1.5 months you can go live with an OTT application, mobile application.
Right, which would have probably taken more than
a year.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months a year.
Got it. Sure. So the last question is there any limitation of adding multiple functionalities with a single package, or are there issues of overloading?
No, Aditya, it's very robust. So you can add, and like the current API SDK we have, it contains Muvi's all APIs inside it. Just imagine the total number of APIs we are using in Muvi is right now available with the API SDK. It will never hamper the application.
Right. So it's an all-in-one package.
It's an all-in-one downloadable software package.
Got it. Cool. So this brings us to the end of today's session. Muvi keeps conducting webinars each month on some interesting industry topics and to also showcase some of Muvi's best offerings. Now, please keep a lookout of our social media channel and website for the registration link of our upcoming webinar. So that we can show the next slide.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. So our upcoming webinar on how to tackle password sharing and safeguarding your OTT platform is going to be presented by Pradyumna Kumar Tripathi, who is the product manager at Muvi. Once again, we at Muvi are thankful for you for tuning in and allowing us to present you with more of such informative and value-adding webinars. And that's all, folks. This is your host Aditya signing off. Until next time. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for giving us time today.
Thank you, Aditya, and thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Have a good day, everyone.